If it didn't, if the soul separated from the body, it'd say, hey, goodbye, let me know what it's like when you come back. In that sense, then, the soul's identity would still be retained in the body and not part of the soul, and therefore the body, therefore, in respect of one's identity, would be built in and a necessary part of the body. If that doesn't happen, but if it takes place in the way I just suggested, therefore the idea of the soul includes one identity, includes it in the sense that that's what it has or that's what it is. Therefore we can say in that sense that it's an intellectual function, it's not physical, it maintains one's identity. That means then whatever is experienced, one must know that oneself is doing the experiencing. Well, here's the question now. If it does separate, then in what does it participate? Huh? In what does it participate? Because if there's nothing, then it's no journey. If it's a separation of the soul from the body, but there's nothing in which it participates, then there's no journey at all. Therefore, in what does it participate, and what do we mean by this curious word, participation? Well, we sure need something, and it's a good thing we have a piece of chalk to remove some of this. And our first page, right? Here's the idea of participation. Any participating principle, right, gives to what participates, or the participant, right, either itself, right, it gives itself, or a part of itself. If it gives part of itself, then we can use the word bestows. Then it bestows life upon animate bodies. And since it can know itself or revert upon itself, therefore, you know what we can say? Let's try it again. See? If any participating principle gives to the participant either itself or some part of itself, and the example we used was, right, if you get into the water, you participate in something, there must be something you participate in, and therefore merge in, become a part of, right, become a part of, and therefore here's the one principle we need. There must either be a resistance on the part of what is being, there must be a resistance on the part of what is being participated in, or an acceptance of it. That is to say, suppose someone were then to separate the soul from the body and take a very nice trip, and came back and said, you know what I encountered? I encountered a sign as soon as my soul left the body, and it said, we don't want you. The price is more than you can pay. We don't like people who have 10 toes on their feet, right? Or 10 fingers. We don't want people separating into this region, right? Well, either there is a resistance to that participation, or it's an acceptance. The principle in this game is that that participation is entirely open if whatever is participating is fit for the reception. Therefore, it's always accessible. It's always accessible if the individual is fit for its reception. No, nothing to overcome. Therefore, there can be a merging, a become a part of whatever it is. Right? And if that's the case, then, all right, what does it find? What then is that thing to which it finds? Now, nearly all of the philosophers who play this game, what I mean by that, get involved in this kind of a discussion, talk about perception. Now, we're talking about what it is that is participated, and it looks like we're changing the subject to participation. But we'll have to bring them together. Look here. Perception is only possible if there's some medium, light. Light is not seen. We do not see light because the only thing we ever see are things that have color. Right? If something has a color, then we can see it. If it has no color, it's invisible. Now, once an object is placed in the light, then the eye can fix on it. The eye then is sometimes talked of as being held by the illuminated object. Right? And then the mind can fasten to it. Right? I see that statue, right? I see it fasten. If no object, no perception. Yet all visible objects are more than the color. That is to say, they're more than the light that bounces off it. Has some kind of mode of existence. Well then, let's see now if we can do that with the soul. Right? Is it possible we can use the same language? What is it we want to know when the soul separates that it encounters? And what is it it encounters? To what degree then does it participate in it? Participate in it. Suppose it either loses its boundary, its vehicle, or it is capable of merging with it and still retaining it on its return. And that's one of the most interesting questions there is. If a boundless vision occurs, then why the restricted return to the everyday world, the everyday sense? Well, what is it that's encountered? See, the eye can't see the light, right? No eye sees the light. It sees through it. Light is not visible. The only people who experience light are these people who separate the soul from the body. They experience light. And that's what we have to find out. What is that? How do they talk about it? What shall we say about it? Oh. Now, I'm going to use these words. What is encountered in experience, what is encountered in the experience is a luminous radiance. Now I'm going to add to it. Right? That is a light experience. Now look here. What one